using our intuition, using our wisdom, which we are so blessed to have as sacred sisters, using our connection to our lineage, drawing on that power, drawing on that potential, so that we can rise in our full glory.
Welcome, Urtema. Welcome to this space that's a very new space that we're going to be creating through Medicine Women, so that you as a listener can really feel into the space that we're creating at Medicine Women. And Urtema was very fortunate to be there last year as well, and held such an incredible space. If I don't say so myself, it was really, to have your presence there and to really hold that what felt like grandmother energy was just really special. So I just want to thank you for that personally. Yeah, I'd love for you to share more about yourself and this path that has led you to where you are now.
Okay, well, that could be a really long answer because I'm very old now. I've lived a long, well, no, I mean, I'm not ancient, but I have done a lot in my life. So, yeah, I guess start at the beginning. I guess I was like connected to spirituality and the invisible realms as a child, although I had no idea. I wouldn't have phrased it like that because I just didn't know. It just wasn't in the awareness of anybody around me. So yeah, my family was very straight. My upbringing was really kind of straight and Christian, and school and everything was like that. So it kind of got crushed out of me because I realized that not everyone was having the same experience of life as I was, and it just felt safer not to talk about certain things. So I just dumbed myself down. Although I had a fascination for just the magic, I guess, the magic of life and fairies and fairy tales and enchantment and all of those kind of magical things because those were the things, the fairy stories that everybody thought weren't true, they were just stories, were the things that I knew were real. And so it was kind of very interesting to live in a different reality from people around me. And I also always had a deep fascination with indigenous cultures, indigenous people from all around the world, and how they lived, how they looked, the clothes they wore. I just thought it was so fascinating. And growing up in suburbia in Kent, kind of close to London, but not kind of exciting enough to be London and not kind of country enough to be country. It was just kind of, everyone was really kind of straight and narrow-minded in their thinking. And it felt incredible to think that there was all of this out there. And that was just on the earth, because I knew there was other stuff up there as well. So yeah, I felt as though I'd been kind of funneled into a very small box. And I was kind of peering out of it all the time, trying to see what else was going on and wondering why there wasn't anybody telling me or showing me, because I knew there was so much more to life. And so I kind of, just kind of grew up feeling a bit frustrated with all of those things, and then discovered alcohol and drugs, and did the whole sort of exploration of I think psychedelics and mushrooms and everything from a pretty young age. And I think that was also just from knowing there was more, and wanting to find out more. And then I was always interested in music, so I was singing in different bands, and I had a band. I had a record deal with Virgin and did the whole sort of pop thing. And yeah, I saw through that pretty quickly, actually, the whole that whole scene. And then I've done so many different things that yeah, as I said, it's a long story, but it's kind of like when I look back retrospectively, I can see how everything that I did forged me into the person that I am now, so that I'm able to be in front of a camera without feeling shy. I'm able to be in front of hundreds of people and kind of, not that I call what I do now perform, but it was then, and be able to do all of that. I also did a Steiner teacher training course, so I've worked as a teacher. I worked in international schools. I've traveled an awful lot due mostly because just wanting to see the world, wanting to see all of these cultures that I found so fascinating, working with Indigenous people and learning from them. And then, yeah, and living in lots of different countries as well, including Brazil and Colombia. And that part of the world from where I traveled extensively to all different countries in South America. So, yeah, I think I need a question now. So how did I get to where I am? Yeah, that's the thing. So how did I get to this? Well, okay, so I was just kind of stumbling around, learning all of these things without having any particular focus of where it was all going. And then my son was born, and I moved back to England. We moved back to England, and that was the point when everything changed. And it was like, as soon as I was pregnant, that was like, no more drugs, no more alcohol, no more anything. And I think it was just like this massive kind of detox of my whole system. And then I kind of shifted onto another timeline, and it's like, okay, what am I doing? So that was when I did the Rudolf Steiner teacher training course. I did a counseling course. Yeah, I just kind of went back to being a student, really, which when I'd left school, I'd actually hated. I hated it. I didn't enjoy it at all by the time I left off studying. So it was interesting to be going back and studying. And yeah, that was another thing that I'd always been interested in, was kind of the psychology of people, why they are the way they are, and what makes people the way they are, and certain behaviors and things. And it was a kind of a healing journey for me in understanding myself. And the Rudolf Steiner and the anthroposophy, that side of it, was just kind of blowing my head open. All of the incredible wisdom that came from Rudolf Steiner. Yeah, so that was a real big part of my awakening. And then I started going to Findhorn and spending time up there and just meeting people who were kind of resonating and on the same path. And oh yes, and then of course I did an energy healing course. So I was learning about working with energy and balancing the chakras. And I eventually incorporated, well, kind of that, but not really that, but using energy. But I incorporated it with sound, which wasn't anything I'd ever been taught, but I just did it intuitively. And the counseling, which was also loosely what I'd learned, but it was from a spiritual perspective. So it's spiritual counseling and energy healing with sound. So somehow I just knew how to do or remembered from somewhere how to do sort of sound journeys and take people on journeys and healing, and yeah, just kind of brought it all together and created something that's unique to me. And and I also started holding little groups at home, for meditation, and another group on a Monday where people would just come and share and give receive guidance and give guidance, and just sort of built things up really kind of organically, without, again, without having a plan of like, this is what I'm going to do and this is what I'm going to be. And it was never like that. It was just really just being guided step by step, without, um, in the way that people seem to these days. They like to have their business coach and their plan, and for me, it's like that's just so alien, because I really feel like when you work in this way, then it to look at it as a business is, there's something strange about that, because it's your path, it's your life path, and part of that, the spirituality, the spiritual side of that is just knowing that you're going to be supported by the universe because you're on your path. And so the idea of having a business coach telling you how to get likes and get this and get that, and how to get, really, when it's more about giving, really, it's a path of service. So that's, yeah, but that's kind of, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there, but I always do find that really strange. So it's developed, everything I do has just developed really organically. And yeah, and then, yeah, it's just more and more things have just come in. More instruments, different ceremonies, cacao, hand fastings, and everything has just kind of come to me, in the most, yeah, in the most beautiful and sometimes surprising way. So I think it's just about becoming magnetic
Mm.
and just attracting to you, all kinds of things that you might not even have thought about.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a very beautiful journey.
Yeah, I
Mm.
love that. I love how you shared around that to get to where you are now is just the natural unfolding of life, and um it's really beautiful to hear your story and your journey, because I can relate so much to what you've kind of been through. Of course, there's a big age gap, but still, I can see the serpent kind of weaving her
Mm,
magic as I'm unfolding on my own journey. And I've been on that journey with drug and alcohol and trying to find this, like, what's the meaning of life, and
yes.
and going to those places, because I always, growing up in the countryside, I always connected so deeply to Mother Earth, and being out in nature was always much safer than being in the house. So for
Mm,
me, they've always been very different. So it's really nice to have that reflected. And yeah, and also what you share about the business coach. It's like I never saw myself being the kind of um mama of medicine woman. It just kind of fell on my lap almost, and was like, this is what you're here to do, this is what
mm,
you need to do. And it's like having this channel, this vessel inside me, and just keeping it as clean, as clear, and as empty as possible, to allow the spirit of this gathering to come through in the most organic way possible. So
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you do get, you do receive this guidance, which is just like, oh, are you sure? You know,
Yeah.
I remember the first time, well, it was one time when I was on Glastonbury Tor many years ago, and it must have been a solstice. I don't even remember, but I'm sure it was, because I was just thinking there were all of these people kind of there, like milling around, and I kind of was just watching everybody, and it seemed to have this sort of lack of focus and cohesion. And I kind of remember thinking aloud to myself, um, well, somebody should be holding a ceremony here. And then I hear like, yes, they should, Urtema, and it's you. And I was like, oh, but but I don't even live here. I don't. Anyway, so that was maybe about 20 years ago, and I've been holding solstice sunrise fire ceremonies on Glastonbury Tor ever since. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. And I guess that brings me on to my next the next part was yeah, this year you came and you opened and closed the container of Medicine Women, and I'd love to hear your experience of that because I remember it very clearly, and I'm sure you do too. And by the end, we were all just a bit like, oh.
Yeah, it was really beautiful, and I'd already been camping on the land prior to Medicine Woman. I'd been there at the Crops Not Shops festival and just stayed in that interim period. So I was really rooted there by then. And yeah, and to be there and watch one festival dismantling and then a little gap and then another one emerging from the earth. It was a really special thing to be there. So yeah, just kind of holding the space for everything to come together. The opening ceremony it felt really powerful, and it's lovely when, and it happens more now than not happening, far more now, that everybody is really in the ceremony. It's not about me doing a ceremony, it's about everybody as part of the ceremony and fully engaged. So that was what I felt, and it was really beautiful and so lovely to be in a field with women. Yeah. Yeah, and just feeling that energy and that unity, which became stronger and stronger as the festival went on, as we kind of connected with each other and spent time and shared food or whatever, shared conversations. But yes, it was a very special, sacred time for me, and I also love that land. Um, love the land where the festival was, which is actually overlooked by the Tor. Um, so I would open my tent door, and there was the Tor right in front of me, which was really beautiful. And just the energy on that land is really special, and really it just feels really sacred. And I've been on that land in different festivals over I don't know how many years, but a long time. An old friend, Sunbird, who's now transitioned from this earth plane, he used to hold festivals there. Um, so yeah, it's been a long time that I've had that relationship with the land there. And and by the end of the festival, when we had the closing ceremony, it was lovely because we'd had ceremonies, we'd had workshops, we'd been creating and co-creating together and singing around the fire in the evenings, just kind of like a kind of free thing where someone would share a song and someone else would offer a song, and then we'd all sing together, and it was just really beautiful, and it felt very connected. Just this sisterhood, that real sense of sisterhood and sacred sisterhood. Not, there's a kind of dysfunctional um, feminine energy and that sisterhood, which is that kind of backstabbing, kind of bitchy. What you wearing? Have you got this? How have I don't know, just all of that, the kind of jealousy and rivalry and competitiveness, and none of that was there. It just felt really, really beautiful. And yeah, you'd attracted really lovely women to the gathering. So yeah, I felt really full by the end of it. Just full in the most beautiful way. Mm.
And it really, yeah, I can, as a someone, yeah, as the main woman who kind of put this all together, and I had no idea who was going to turn up, and yeah, you know, we did have a few difficulties. The initiatory path was definitely one that encompassed everyone by the end of it, which I think is
Mm.
made it so special, and something that I want to really really bring into that ethos with medicine women is that when we come together as women, we come together. We really
Yes.
bring ourselves and our generosity, and um yeah, like every single woman just showed up so beautifully, and just was, you know, hands there just like, what do you want me to do you need help today, you know, do you need a cup of tea, do you need food, do you need this,
Mm.
just yeah, by the end it was just such a joy, and it was definitely a journey, and something that I noticed was that it really felt like a ceremony itself. So the first
Yes.
day and a half were quite like woo, and then something lifted on the Saturday night, and then after that it was like the expansion just happened,
Mm.
and yeah, it was powerful, really powerful medicine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, I had a lot of women share with me afterwards how they really enjoyed your presence as like the grandmother of the gathering itself, and I really just wanted to, yeah, like touch on how that felt for you, because I know this year, which we can talk about in a moment, you're going to be holding the space again for us in, I guess, in that way, and also sharing a cacao ceremony, and yeah, how does it feel to be in that kind of grandmother position, especially with women? I women of all walks of life and all ages, but a lot of women that came, and because of my age, attracting the women that I know in my age range, which is around 30, um, to be that way shower for us as the rising the rising into our ages as we move on this path. Yeah, how does that feel to be in that position for you?
Um, it feels like a great honor. It is a great honor to be considered as the grandmother. It feels very natural um, because I have a really big tribe in London, and they are all ages, and they are mostly women. I seem to attract more women. That's and I know I'm always doing this call out to the brothers, but they don't seem to hear, and they're not going to hear on this, so it's not worth me saying it. um, yeah, so it's kind of it's an interesting kind of transition when you actually realize that you are transitioning into that place. Um, and I felt that I'd really embodied it last year for the first time. That yeah, here I am. I'm I'm an elder. I'm a grandmother. I'm a young elder, but I'm still in that. In that felt like I was embodying that role. Um, yeah, it's a different sense of um, power. It's a kind of still deep power that, yeah, I guess it's not really about doing anything necessarily or even saying anything unless that's needed. But it's just, yeah. For me, it's like being an anchor for everything that's occurring, just helping to ground it and anchor it, and just being there as a really solid and safe kind of energy, force of energy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really felt that at Medicine Women, just what you shared there, being that anchor. So many women shared that having your presence there as what felt like the anchor. Um, and yeah, especially around the fire and when we were singing the songs together, I really, really felt that grandmother presence and elder presence from you. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I loved that round the fire. It was really beautiful.
it was very special. I
Mm.
only caught about, I don't know, gosh, maybe an hour. So I was just so exhausted. I needed to go to bed, but I just wanted to pop my head in and say hello and
Mm.
sing a song with everyone. It's beautiful, really beautiful. Um, I forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay.
um, I have one last thing here, but oh, that was it. I'll cut that bit out.
Mhm. Yep.
um, so yeah, you're going to be joining us this year again.
Mhm.
Um, and this year you're going to be holding the cacao ceremony for us. And yeah, wondering if you'd love to share a little bit about that and the flavor that you would like to bring. Maybe you don't know yet, but
Mm. I don't know, but I'm feeling so strongly this year. The energies are so strong and everything's shifting so fast that I feel that we're, in 6 months' time, we're going to be in a completely different place, in a completely different vibration from where we are now. But I am very aware that we're in the year of the dragon. At this weekend, we go and start the Chinese Year of the Dragon. So, and I'm feeling the dragon energies really strongly. So there might be some sort of dragon, yeah, there might be a dragon emphasis in the cacao ceremony, like connecting with your dragon allies. And we're, the whole landscape of Avalon is full of dragons and dragon lines, and so we're in a really powerful portal for dragons. So yeah. um and of course, working with cacao, she's one of my really, really beloved teacher plants, and I'm really, really super focused on um bringing the ceremony and the sacredness into um, the experience of cacao, so that it's not people just having a cup of cacao and then wandering away and doing whatever they're doing, but it's a holding the space for people to really allow that medicine to work, because she's such a powerful heart opener. And yeah, and then again, I'll be working with sound and taking people on a journey um, with all kinds of instruments. So a kind of shamanic journey that may or may not involve dragons, but probably will. But maybe all kinds of other things as well. Who knows? Yeah, maybe bringing in the magic and somehow bringing in sisterhood into that as well, or the feminine, the rose. Yeah.
yeah, beautiful. That sounds
Mm.
really special. And we're actually going to have the Heart of the Rose is going to have a temple space at Medicine Woman this year, because
Mm.
something that I really want to bring in is this sense of these sisterhood gatherings that are happening. Is there's this co-creation that we're coming together and there isn't that separation.
Oh, beautiful.
So yeah, so the rose medicine is always very, very welcomed. And Alexandra is going to do another rose blessing this year. And I know Hannah Graceful Dawn might reach out to you as well about a collaboration.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah. So
wonderful.
lots
Yeah.
of weavings that are happening.
Mm,
Just like,
mm.
oh, it's happening.
Oh, that's really exciting.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, so very special. Um, yeah, which I guess leads me to my last kind of question, which is the importance of women's gatherings. And we kind of touched on this on a phone call a few weeks ago now, and the deep healing that's happening as women gather, and why in this time is it important for women to gather. Um, yeah,
Mm.
wondering if you could share a little bit around that.
Yeah, well, there's so many reasons why it's important that I don't know where to start. But yeah, I think for women to come together in a kind of sacred way is a very ancient way of being, for us to gather. Um, Also to honor the sort of cycles of woman, the maiden, mother, crone, and the coming together in as a unified force. We are a unified force for change. We are the creative force of humanity. We hold that creativity, and when we come together and create this unified field, we can change so much and bring about such potent change on the earth that I think we'll all be completely blown away by the effect that we can have, and the change, the changes that we can make with when we cooperate. And it's coming out of the place of competition, of backstabbing, of jealousy, of all of those old energies. It's about healing all of the sister wounds, the mother wounds. It's healing all of that so that we can really come to trust the sacred feminine in all of us, and understand that we create something that's greater than the sum of our parts, and it's really supportive and nourishing and beautiful and creative and ultimately divine and sacred when we come together in that way.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better. Yeah, yeah, and I've been to a few women's gatherings, and the more that I go to them, the deeper I start to embody myself, I feel. And it's almost like it's the way that I would kind of describe it is it's like this, it's like we all have a womb, but then when we come together, we become this big womb. And of course, the earth itself is a big womb. So it's
Mm,
like the amplification of our divinity just starts to just
yes.
expand in such a natural and fluid way. Yeah.
Mm, mm, yeah. It's part of the shift um, of the ages that we're in, that we're stepping up, that we're coming into our power, um, and healing, so that we can actually, from our place of power, support the brothers and allow ourselves to be held by the brothers, so that we can have these sacred unions that we're sort of yearning for within ourselves, or with a partner. um, and I think, yeah, it was the Dalai Lama who said that Western women are going to change the world. And so, yeah,
Wow.
let's see if he's right. Let's make it right. Let's make that a prophecy that comes true, you know?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's time.
Mm.
And yeah, these gatherings, or this gathering specifically, because I can only speak for myself. And what's coming through is, yeah, that's one of the reasons I called it Medicine Woman was because each of us in our own right have a medicine.
Hmm.
Even just embodying this body is
Yes,
medicine for this world, it's medicine for this
yes.
earth. And to come back to the energy of a medicine woman, and that can be anything within
Hmm.
that, just to really embody who we are as a medicine woman on this earth in service of her is just, yeah, that's my prayer,
Mm,
my deep prayer.
yes, mine too.
Yeah, yeah. And the women can come and they can explore that in the
Yes,
sense of medicine woman.
yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, beautiful. Oh, thank you so much, Urtema. It's been
Mm.
such a pleasure to see you and be in your presence and to just get taken back to that field around the fire. And yeah,
Yes,
just, oh,
yes, yes, I can feel that as well. Really beautiful. Thank you for all that you are doing and, all that you've done already and are continuing to do for this sacred sisterhood rising.
thank you.
Yeah.
Rise up, holding hands, singing, we are part of